Hi friends. Okay, so one of the things that I get asked all the time over and over again is how to help a child transition from point A to point B. And so I want to talk to you guys today about the four-step formula that we're going to use to help you be successful and your child be successful in transition time. So the first thing that we need to understand about transition time is what is actually happening. Why is it actually bothering them to move from one place to the next? Because oftentimes kids will even be upset when they're moving from an activity they're not as crazy about to an activity they love even more, and it's still uncomfortable. So let me explain to you what's going on. What's happening is your child is sitting in one location or doing one activity, whatever it is, and in that moment, all the pain in the world, all the yuck in the world, all the anxiety in the world, any feelings that they have, in that moment, it's gone. So they're coping, they're happy, they're content, they're safe, they know they're safe. And so it's a mental break when the kids get involved with an activity. But then what happens is we, or the adult, comes up and says, we're going to change from here to here. And that it automatically produces a little bit of anxiety because we're taking them off of what's safe onto something unknown, which has the potential to not be safe, even though it's something that they know and understand. So let me walk you through the four-step formula that's going to help you and your child have a very successful transition. So step number one is that we're going to get their attention. And I don't mean yelling from the kitchen or from the other room or having little brother do it or little sister. What I mean here is that we have to get their full attention. So we physically have to get next to them and be in front of them. We can put our hand on our shoulder. We can get eye contact. So we want to make sure that they're listening to exactly what we're going to say. The second step is that we're going to mention what's actually going to happen. So we might say, hey, Johnny, we're about to go take a bath. In that moment, you can give choice. You can say, would you like to finish what you're drawing and then take a bath? Or would you like to take your bath and then finish what you're drawing? You can give any choice, but that helps them feel safer to know that they have a little bit of control over the situation. So then you're going to say, okay, Johnny, I will be back in XYZ number of minutes. When I get back, I'm going to ask you to move to the next thing, the bath. What I need from you to do is to tell me, okay, mommy. So you're getting that buy-in from them so they know what should happen when you come back. Then you're going to leave for a little bit. And then when that time it's time to go back, you're going to go back to them, but here's one of the most important parts, and it's our third step. We're going to distract them. And I don't mean like playing a mind trick on them and trying to distract them off of with anything. What I want to do in that moment is I want to distract them off of the activity and then onto me so we can have a discussion or a dialogue about a common subject. Because what I'm doing in that moment is I'm taking them off of what's safe and onto me, the safe, loving adult, and we're having a conversation. So their brain has disconnected from the activity and connected to me. In that moment, the next thing I'm going to do is step 4, which is act. That time they're connected to me so we can go off and move to the next thing together. And I might give them a choice of, talking about the activity, if it's bath time, or do you want to play with this soap, or do you want to make bubbles or no bubbles, and then we'll move together. So that distract piece is what I call a connected distraction, because the purpose of it is to get them connected to me so we have a common bond so that we can move together. So the 4 steps are to get their attention, to mention what's going to happen, to distract them in a connected way, and to stay with them until they act. And that is how you're going to do a successful transition. So I have a special guest with me today. Her name is Rochelle, and she is in the trenches of foster care and adoption and has been in the trenches for a long time. And so I invited her to come and do these videos with me because I felt like it was important that she could represent all the people out there watching and be able to ask kind of the tough questions about the teaching that I just did and see how does that actually happen in real life and what her thoughts and questions are. So, hey, Rochelle.
Hey.
Thanks for coming and being with me today.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the transition formula?
I like it. I really like it because, when we're talking about understand the transition, I think for me as an adult, a lot of times the knowledge is power. And so whenever you're telling me, this is why this is happening, it helps me to be more understanding of the situation and not just take it personally. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, absolutely.
It's really taken me a lot of years years ago, the first counselor we had in our home would be like, it's not personal, it's not about you. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I know it's not about me. Like, but I don't know where the shift happened, that it's like that feeling, you know?
Yeah.
It changes, that it's not about me. So I took a few notes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I did.
let's do it.
So I guess the first thing is, like, I struggle with guilt. And so for me, it was like feeling guilty that I can't have fun time all the time. And so my kids, oh, mommy, just play with me, play with me. And how do you, it's like telling my kid, no, we can't just play all the time.
Right.
And I mean, I know it's not reality.
Right,
But
absolutely.
still as a mom, you know? And so I think a lot of it goes back to me in the moment and trying to not feel guilty, and then I'm mad at what they want because I feel guilty that I can't provide that.
Right,
you know?
absolutely.
So it's like, I guess that's a struggle. So then the thing I asked was, let's see, what if I don't have the time to do this? So when you talk about transition time, I'm a get up and go.
Yep.
Let's get out the door in 5 minutes.
Yep.
And if we can't, I'm frustrated.
Absolutely. So a couple things. First,
Okay.
guilt.
Okay.
Mom guilt, dad guilt. When we are parenting kids with trauma histories, the guilt is even higher because we only have a certain skill set unless we go and have been taught all kinds of things. And so the guilt piece is kind of always surfaces and stuff like that. So, but when it comes to spending time with, because they do want your time and they like you because you're cool and they want to spend time with you. So what I always tell families is, at the end of the day, no matter how hectic it was, no matter what happened, when you put your head on the pillow at the end of the day, can you say that you connected with each one of your kids? That connection moment, though, like, it doesn't have to be 5 hours of dodgeball, like, or a full Monopoly, or
You know me so well.
a bunch
Dodgeball.
of, a bunch of rounds of Uno. Like,
Yeah.
that's spending time with. Those are two completely different things. The goal needs to be deep connection, not spending time with, because that's
Okay.
what the kids are actually after. The spending time with can be fun, but they want to feel connected to you. And you can literally connect with a kid or another person in just a few moments. And so what I always tell families is, do that check when you go to bed at night. If you feel like you didn't connect, because you will know, if you feel like you didn't connect, get out of bed, go in their room, get eye contact with them, hold their hands, tell them that you love them, tell them something precious about who they are. And in that moment, you will have no guilt, because it's about connecting. It's not about spending time with.
Yeah.
So I think when we measure, like, oh my gosh, if you hear, I'm not spending time with my kids, I'm not spending time with my kids, you very rarely hear, I'm not connecting with my kids.
Right.
But because connection can happen 5 minutes, connection can happen with, help me do the dishes, right? Like, so that's how I would handle the guilt piece, as far as them wanting to spend time with you. Measure it on whether or not you had a connection with them that day. And then, how do you do a transition to this level when you've got get out the door, we're late for soccer, whatever. So what I would say there is that not all kids are going to require all those steps to that level. So the way I described it was for somebody who has is parenting a child who's just really, really struggling with transitions. Some kids, you can yell from the kitchen making mac and cheese, but like, go get in the bath, right? And they will do it.
Okay.
What we're trying to do with the transition formula is avoid the 45-minute, 2-hour meltdown, combative fight, chaos in that point. So that's where we get into this concept. Trust-based relational intervention, TBRI, talks about investment parenting. So we invest a lot in the connective pieces so that we can not have so many of those corrective moments.
Right.
But in this case, it's like, do I want to spend 20 minutes, 10 minutes doing the transition to this level with the formula, or the 45-minute meltdown when I'm still trying to get them out the door and have to do the scoop and go and carry their shoes and bring their clothes because they're still in their PJs. Like, so you're just trading one. You're trading one for the other, really.
That makes sense.
But the cool thing is that if you do the transition formula, then they're going to learn how to do it, and you don't have to do it to the same level, right? So it should give you time, but.
True. And that was kind of my thought was, what if I don't have time to do it? Do I just have to suck it up and make time? So that answered that question, obviously. Well, these are obviously, you're taking the time for all this. So why? So, but I think that's where we get to, like, oh, this kid's behavior. Right. But a lot of times I think as parents, we realize we can help alter the behavior, but sometimes we're choose not to,
Yeah.
you know? And I think that's a struggle too, is realizing we're giving everything. And if somebody's telling us to give something else, it's
Right.
almost like too much.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And like at the end of the night, what about like those days that you're, like you say, you're in bed and you know you didn't connect with your kids, but you're exhausted and you don't, you're like,
Well, that is a choice.
I mean,
because it's
Yeah.
one thing. It's like you will feel better though.
Right,
Like
yeah.
you're saying I'm exhausted.
right.
But you will benefit tremendously
Yeah,
by
I
doing the
agree.
5 second.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be very long, because what you're doing in that moment when you're trying to go to sleep, you're exhausted, but you're also beating yourself up because you
Right.
have guilt. So it's like it relieves the guilt and it will get you to sleep faster, right? Like you won't ruminate about it
I agree.
and beat yourself up about it
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. And then, I mean, come on, this is real life. I can give you the transition formula and you're going to have a day where you have the energy and you're like, I'm super mom
Yeah.
today and I'm going to do it this way, but that's not going to be every day.
No.
And so just knowing that you have an option, like that you are making the choice, and that choice might, but
You're
sometimes.
TBRI and me now.
No, but seriously, but
Yeah, no,
sometimes
for
that
real.
choice is
Yeah.
of not doing it to that level.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not. There's nothing wrong with that. You're
Right.
just making the choice for XYZ reason, but at least you have it.
Right.
So if you wanted to do it that way and experiment with it, you
Yeah.
could. And I think what happens with a lot of our families is they don't know the solution. So it's different to know it and not choose
Right.
it.
True.
But and there's always a good reason why it's not chosen. But it's you start to feel hopeless and talk about guilt when you don't have the solution to even try to do something, and then you
agree.
start to feel like you're failing and the whole thing. So
Yeah.
you're gonna have good days and bad days.
And I like how it's like you give the kids a choice and you're also giving us a choice,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And I mean, I think it's good, and I think it's a great tool to have. But one thing I've talked to you about is that, just judging myself, feeling like I can't live up to that every day. And pretty much, you told me, other people, like, you don't have to. Like, give
No.
yourself grace. Like,
Yeah.
if it doesn't happen every single time, like, there's nothing wrong with you, and if you can't do it like that person did, and gave me grace to be human. And I think a lot of times when these things that people come in and they're like, I can't perform like that every day.
Right.
And you say, like,
Yeah.
okay,
Absolutely.
tomorrow's a new day.
Absolutely.
But if we really, I do believe though, if we really want our kids to change and to grow, like we are going to have to grow. Like,
Absolutely.
And then I kind of feel stupid because I'm like, why am I expecting my kid to change and grow when I'm not even willing to? And I've had how many more years of experience?
I know.
So, and let's see, I think I had one other thought or question
Okay.
for that. It was just a thought. I said what I like is it's a team effort. It's not that we're just expecting them to do or just expecting us to do. You're expecting both of us to come together. And I think anytime, we work as a team, it
Absolutely.
works better.
Yeah, you're trying to help them, and you guys are going for the same exact positive solution, and it just feels better. Like when your child starts to move, and you're connected at that moment, right? You have a connection because you did the distracted connection piece, and it's fun, like to move to the next thing, and it's
You're like, yeah.
yeah. But we have to remember too, like
Yeah.
we're talking about humans, and as much as we think we're pretty cool, we can't control other humans. So all we can do is coach and teach and help. And if we know the issue, like they're safe in that moment, and I'm moving them to something that potentially has the ability to be unsafe, even though it's their favorite activity, that gives us a little bit of the energy and effort to go in there and help them. Like we're helping them move, and thinking about it like that makes it a little bit easier to kind of approach and
I agree.
rather than.
Well, sometimes it's that old school parenting, right? That old school parenting of, listen, I say what I say, and you're going to do it when I say it. And if you don't, there's a problem.
Yes.
And mind you, I think there's all different kinds of parenting for different kids. I have multiple different kids in my home. So, but if I want to be honest, today in our society, this is working better than that, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I think a little bit of each thing,
Absolutely.
depending on the kid. And I've seen things that work that I'm like, I'm surprised that worked. And so I think for me personally, I'm always like, I'm going to try something. If it works, I'll be like, that's a really good idea. And then if it doesn't, I'll be like, oops, I'm not trying that again.
Yeah.
So I think being open for trial and error too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I was like, I learned the most in my biggest failures.
Yeah, well, me too.
So, right?
No, absolutely.
So, well,
I
thank you.
feel a lot. Yeah, thank you. How about we tackle lying next? Does that sound good to you?
Man.
How to handle lying?
Yes.
Okay, that's what we'll do
Yes.
next.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Okay.
thanks. Thanks, everybody.